Merry Christmas, listeners. Welcome to the global exclusive podcast. Wait, shit, did I just offend a bunch of people by saying Merry Christmas? Of course, not everyone listening to us celebrates Christmas. Are there any other holidays around this time of year?
Probably.
Okay, sorry if I offended anyone. Welcome to the global exclusive podcast that is about the Christmas event in FFBE with Sinzar and Dream. Hey!
I don't think people are actually offended by Christmas.
What's up?
Yeah, are you sure though? Like, okay, but maybe not. Maybe I'm just overreacting. Okay, so thank you, Sinzar, for joining us, because I think this is going to be a very interesting discussion about this CoW. It's a bit different, so that's going to be really interesting to hear about your struggles to become rank 1.
Oh yeah, this is the hardest one we've had for a long time.
I feel like you say that for many CoWs, but maybe that's because they do get like progressively harder.
I mean, we've had clashes that are hard for one reason or another. This one is like just hard, period, to even kill with the modifiers turned on.
Right. Okay, but that's going to be super interesting
like
to talk about.
Probably most difficult since like Thanator, because I feel like most of the ones since then have been pretty basic.
You see, the thing is, most clashes are hard in one category. For example, Thanator was like, if I remember correctly, was hard to survive, but it was easy to damage cap. Or maybe it's like easy to damage cap, but hard to survive. This is hard to everything. It's hard to survive. It's hard to damage cap. The units to even bring are the most narrow we have ever had in the game. It's in my opinion, it's not tuned very well. I mean,
it's a nasty one.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Yeah, I was a bit surprised, honestly. So we're already talking about CoW, so let's just keep going. But I was a bit surprised because normally we're used to having the premium unit or the banner unit play a much bigger role in the CoW itself. And I honestly don't feel Ayaka does that well.
Oh, I mean, not to call you out, but you are so wrong. I will be absolutely shocked if we ever see a rank 1 not using Ayaka on this month. I think she is beyond critical for this Clash of Wills to get rank 1. She is so incredibly important for this.
But is that only because she is a very, very strong mage? Or is that because I don't see anything in her kit?
It's because we have literally 2 DPS that are viable for this clash, and Ayaka can't do it by herself. That's the end of it. So you're going to need Ayaka and you're going to need Olive. If you don't have both of those, like I said, it might happen, and it probably will, but I will be very surprised to see a rank 1 clear that doesn't involve both Ayaka and Olive at the same time. Maybe with the near team that uses some super big brain strategy to get around the defense penalty, but it's going to be surprising if that happens.
Okay, yeah. But it was what I thought. So it's because she's just one of the, or she's a very viable damage dealer for the CoW. It's not that she has a supporting kit that does so much with the boss's mechanics.
It's almost purely because of the defense break punish.
Yeah.
We only have 2, meta relevant mages, and that's now Ayaka and Olive. And it would be Golbez, but we can't bring Golbez. He is literally hard locked out of the fight. He cannot come.
Why is that?
Because he has a preemptive 5-turn undispellable full break. That means if you put Golbez on your party, the boss will be full broken for 5 turns. You have to survive 5 turns of enrage mode, and I don't think that's possible. I think that is literally impossible.
Oh, okay, right. That's a shame. I mean, you forgot like the Freyevia is a magic DPS. Why didn't you mention Freyevia, Sinzar?
Oh, she's important too, but not really for her damage. Her damage is pretty low. She contributes, but she's not contributing to she's not like a core part of the damage thing. And I think Freyevia could be replaced. Now, she is very, very good for this because she pairs with Ayaka magnificently. I used her. I think just about every rank 1 so far has used her. But I feel like she is not a requirement, even though she's very good for it.
Right. Okay. All right, so we've been talking all over the place, and since we are already on the topic of CoW, let's actually talk a bit about it then.
Let's just change our schedule and do Clash first instead of at the end.
Yeah, for sure. That's perfectly fine. I think this is the most interesting thing to talk about anyway, and we're going to touch on some of the units anyway. So, Sinzar, tell us a bit about what is it that makes this difficult then?
Oh, we're going to be here a while. Okay, no, I'll try to keep it brief. Okay, so first of all, like I mentioned, you can't defense break the boss. No, you technically can, but if you do, he goes into enrage mode. He does basically double damage, and he's already doing so much damage just by default that it's extremely hard to survive. Now, if you double that because he's enraged, I mean, good luck.
Right.
So you can't break defense. Even if you can break defense, and there are super gimmicky cheese ways to get around that and still break defense and work with it. It's very action inefficient. I tried it. I couldn't get it to work. I'm going to try more. I can probably figure it out. But even if you do break defense, the boss has innately higher defense than Spirit. It's kind of like a Dark Vision sub-boss. He is low Spirit, high defense, and you can't even break the defense without some enormous effort, which pretty much says mage only. Like I said, one of the best mages in the game, Golbez, you can't bring him because he gets your party killed.
Right.
You can't really bring Onion Knight because he just doesn't. He gears poorly anyway. He can't gear for these killers. His damage is going to be very bad. Like Roberta, Frievia and all, their damage is just relatively low. You can bring them and they can put in work, but again, the only ones that are going to really contribute meaningfully to getting to that damage cap is Ayaka and Olive.
Right.
Those two deal really high. And even Olive isn't super high damage here. It's mostly Ayaka, which is to be expected because of Turk Clash. So right away, your damage dealers are very limited. Now, I have EX2 Ayaka, basically, I would say probably best in slot gear. EX3 Olive, EX3 Frievia, probably best in slot gear for them as well.
This is the brag episode for Sinzar's roster. Welcome, everyone.
This is the copium episode because I took so many attempts to hit that. I had to fight variants to get a damage cap, and it barely happened. I did like 2.6, and that was a near flawless variant. Oh, it's it's hard.
But I mean, when you're describing it like this, a friend point summon like me is definitely not gonna even try to. I don't know.
To put this into perspective, for the past 6 months, by the end of the first 24 hours, usually the rank 1, scoreboard is all rank 1s on the first day, and they're more than 100. At the current time, 35 hours later, we've got 9. And until I posted a video, we had literally 2. Ubonic did his own rank 1. I did one. I posted a video. And then we had 7 more that were the exact same team as me, which is awesome that people use guides and all. But it was basically some big whales that literally copied my guide point for point and got a rank 1 as well. That's basically it. So this clash is insane. And I talked about how hard it is the damage cap. On top of that, the boss deals completely ridiculously, insanely high damage. And this is if you don't break his defense. If you do, it's just game over.
Right.
But his damage is so absurdly high, and it does physical and magical damage. And it's RNG on top of that. So
and they're both AoE to add maybe.
AoE.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. And so just as an example, his kick ability, Gumdrop Kick, does with full mitigation, racial mitigation, 85 general mit, everything, does something like 25,000 damage to your DPS. He can do up to 7 or 8 of these a turn depending on RNG. So
sounds delicious.
You can't even 5-stack Mirage it because he's sometimes going to do I'm going to do 7 of these. You're going to Mirage 5 of them. The 6th one's going to hit your party and gut you. The 7th one's going to kill you. And even if you do guts, he follows it up with 6 more peppermint needles. These are 100 damage fixed attacks. This was put in literally just to say if you guts the attack, we're going to deal you 100 damage. Just to kill you off, to make sure you don't
assholes.
Die. Oh my god, it's horrible.
Yeah, and
Merry Christmas, bitches.
Sorry, what did you say, Drew?
Did Merry Christmas, bitches?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Okay, but one thing I do understand is a tool in this fight, and is a tool at least for everyone that's just casually clearing 99, is that the boss does have 2 thresholds on which he doesn't do any actions at all, right?
Yes. He threshold locks at 70% as well as at 30%. Now, the majority of the danger is in phase 1, because in phase 1, almost all the damage is non-elemental, and it will decimate your party. The silver lining here is if you can get out of phase 1 somewhat quickly, phase 2 and 3 are sort of less dangerous.
Sort of.
And it's still very dangerous because of the RNG factor, but it's not as bad as phase 1.
Yeah, but you still said, like, despite all of the survival issues that you're facing, you were still RNGing fucking variants just to actually get the cap, right?
Yes. Oh, yes. Because on top of everything, just like Rafflesia, the boss will spam heal itself. And like a big burst turn is doing like, after multiple turns of setup, is doing like 25 to 30% of the boss's health. He's healing 10% a turn. And you can't do these 3-turn setup enormous burst turns every round. So yeah, even if you just killing the boss is a challenge because he threshold locks and then he starts healing for 10% a round. It's so crazy.
That sounds insane. Like, honestly, it sounds insane. I mean, I understand that your clear kind of uses Kresnik to get those 3 turns of 0 physical damage so that you can cross that threshold quickly, right?
Yes, exactly. And then real quick, the last cherry on top, if you stall in the same phase for 4 turns in a row, he just basically game over because he unavoidably stops your whole team and you're wiped. So,
what the fuck?
Yeah,
okay, so it's actually a race against. Well, okay, hold on. This is a very interesting design, but I am a bit afraid that like it's too restrictively implemented, if you know what I mean.
Oh, absolutely. I 100% agree. Like I said, I will be very surprised if anyone caps without Ayaka and Olive on the team. It's probably going to happen, but it's going to be the minority.
Yeah, but would you like also agree that the actual design is interesting, kind of, forcing you as a race against the clock to keep hitting those thresholds in order to survive? That was quite to me, that was quite an interesting idea.
Yes. The overall design of the boss is very, very cool. The names are thematic. The mechanic of, like, he actually says, catch me if you can, and you kind of like a race, you've got to beat him. It's very, very cool. It's just the number tuning is a little off. He does too much damage on the attacks. The RNG that he can spam up to 7 of them in the same turn, which will just body your entire team, is off. Like, he should have a cap on his attacks per turn, and the defense spirit should be a little lower because I don't think it should be this extremely hard to damage cap with literally the brand new unit. And it's still almost very, very hard to cap.
Right.
It sort of sounds like this would be a much better clash if it was just like almost the same, but all of its stats were like 2/3 or 3/4 of what they are.
Really?
Exactly.
That extreme?
Absolutely. Well, maybe not that much, but it should definitely be lower than what it currently is.
Okay. Well, I mean, I hear what you're saying. I mean, what you're describing sounds very scary. I haven't done any serious attempts yet. I did try to, like, okay, so here is how this boss is going to fuck you. I'm just going to share my experience then. Because I was like, okay, so I'm going to do a Regina clear, obviously, right? I just got Ayaka. I have to do a fucking Regina clear. So I'm like, well, this is going to be easy. All I need to do is survive for 5 turns, and then, survive for 4 turns, and then I'll just, destroy him with Regina. And I was so fucking wrong. It's like I died on turn 1, like nothing.
Oh yeah, like Regina's problem of like bursting once and then the tank is empty. That's not super great for this kind of clash, especially if this has 3 thresholds, or you got to burst 3 times to finish them off. So that's not favored for Regina.
Yeah, and like so Regina does have her own imbue, and she has the other attack, the pentacast one, but that only does slightly more damage than Olive's pentacast one, which still does less damage than Olive's LB. So yeah, and that's of course without morale mods. I mean, Olive is obviously doing more damage the more you get morale, right?
Yeah. Once you get max morale, Olive's LB is 450x plus a 500 focus, so it's really respectable.
Yeah, exactly. So okay, that's a huge shame. That's a huge shame. I really wanted to try Regina out on this trial, but I guess I'm gonna have to wait until next DV to break something with Regina. At least it was easy to cap the Vision World with Regina, so there's that.
I think I maybe would have had the units for this clash, just looking at the teams that are coming out of it currently, but I don't think I have the EX levels especially on the tank front, because what I've seen, the tank selection is also very limited.
Oh, can you tell us a bit about that, Sinzar? That's great, Dream.
Yeah. So because the boss does so ridiculous damage, someone like, as an example, Maeve, who I think her best mitigation is like 60% for the party, it's just not enough. It's not enough. Chow, like Omni covering, because the boss does so excessive damage of both physical and magic, Chow can't really Omni cover it. And something like Esther. One of the strategies, and the very first rank one, was Eubonic. His strategy was to Omni cover with Esther, because Esther does have physical racial mitigation for Stone and Demon. The problem, I tried it too. The problem with Esther is the magic damage just wrecks her dead. But what Eubonic did, and it's super clever, is he brought Hyuncle to the fight. And Hyuncle does 85% racial magic mitigation for Demon and Stone. So that is an extra layer of literally 85 damage reduction versus the boss for magic. That allows Esther to Omni cover all the damage because she has her own double race mitigation for the physical. Hyuncle gives her the double race mitigation for magical, and that allows you to Esther to. And even he said, even with literally 85% less damage than I was taking with Esther, he said it's still very RNG. Because if the boss decides to do 4 or more minty beams, that's the AoE non-elemental magic, even Esther dies even with all this stacked up mitigations.
Holy
it's
shit.
That much damage. And so go ahead.
No, but I thought, just dialing it back then, do you two think it's likely we're going to see a nerf?
I mean, it's always possible, but there was an issue report a few hours ago, like 6 hours ago, that talked about some issues with the raid and all, and there was no mention of Clash of Wills, and we kind of know that they're basically shutting down for the holidays, probably already at this point.
Yeah.
So
there's no maintenance next week, so
yeah.
Oh.
So they hotfixed the raid this morning. They didn't hotfix anything but Clash. So if it's going to be nerfed, it won't be for the next 6 days. So I would say probably not going to happen, but
Okay, yeah,
you never know.
No, I mean it's interesting. It's going to mean that it's almost like one of these uncappable DVs, although this one is cappable, but just it's going to be by a minority, unless somebody pulls some shit out of their ass and does some type of cheese strat with Riku or whatever. But it sounds so unlikely given the amount of damage that the boss does and the amount of damage you need to do in order to even kill it.
Oh yeah. It's hard to I like a challenge, and I think this Clash it's good that it's challenging because compared to the last 3 that have just been sleepwalking, I'm glad it's harder, but I mean, kind of meet me in the middle somewhere. We don't have to go from automatic free win to we're going to have maybe 15 rank 1s out of the entire community, and that's probably it.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I lost you at meet me in the middle. I'm sorry.
Oh, I was just saying, No,
that was a dirty joke. I'm sorry, Sinzar. I had to spell it. Dream, why didn't you, you knew this was a dirty joke. Why didn't you speak up?
I'm just gonna not get between you two.
Ooh, okay.
Oh, get it.
Oh, there we go. Okay. But so this CoW really sounds like a interesting concept, but maybe, like you said, Sinzar, overtuned in its numbers, making it an ordeal for the players. But hey, I mean, maybe this is how CoW should be. Who knows? Let's see how the community thinks. I haven't heard anything yet myself about the feelings on the difficulty. So let's see.
Yeah, it's
or let me ask you two, right? So let me ask you two. What would you prefer? Do you prefer when a CoW is easily clappable?
No, because that's basically just like Dark Visions or Vision World. And, the reason a lot of people love Vision World because it's free Lapis, but taking aside the reward of Vision Worlds are boring and they're not very exciting. I know some of them have nostalgia because, we played Final Fantasy 7. It's cool for that reason. But mechanically, Vision Worlds are not fun. They're easy. They're too easy and it's not fun. It's not fulfilling. It's not satisfying.
Right.
Neither are super easy Clash, like the Egg Exterminator Clash of Wills. I always bring that up as literally the worst one we've ever had because it didn't do anything. The boss was just gimp, and it was not fun. It's not fun. I enjoy Clash for the challenge and the satisfaction of beating a hard fight. And if I have to pick last month where the boss, like you re-raise the boss and he doesn't do anything, or this month where it's so extremely hard I was ready to flip a table. I'd probably pick this one, but I don't really want it this hard either.
Right.
I mean,
Okay, so
last
you
month
definitely
was
feel
fun.
this is too high, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you, Dream, what
Yeah.
what does it sound to you?
Similar. I probably prefer things a little on the lower end compared to Sinzar. Like I enjoy a complex fight with like lots of moving parts and stuff, but I like these stats to probably be a little more on the lower side, so that when you're doing everything right, things are like comfortable.
Right, like a puzzle, right?
You
Like
know what I
once you've
mean?
set the
Yeah,
puzzle,
yeah.
yeah, I get that. I can respect that. Like on,
Yeah,
I don't really have. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, some of the harder ones have been the case where, like, even when you're doing everything right, you're still at quite a risk of being killed and things going wrong and stuff.
Yeah. Well, I personally just don't like RNG in general, so I don't like kind of what you're saying, Dream. Like I don't like if I've done everything right, I don't want to be at the mercy of a random number generator wiping my party with 7 AoEs, right? That's kind of what I dislike. But on the other hand, I'm a very casual player, so I don't mind if capping is really difficult because I rarely cap. So it just means there is more effort in less mods, which is what I often have to do since I don't have the required EX levels.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, pretty much.
I mean, isn't that really something that we've lost in CoW? Maybe this is a stupid take, and you don't like agree with me because both of you are much better players. But one thing I feel is that lower cap or like not all modifiers is absolutely worthless in most CoWs because as long as you can't get all modifiers, you're gonna be like, well, 3,000 ranking at least as a base minimum, right? Like, and it's gonna be higher than that. I would like it to still be relevant to do my best, but with less mods, right? So I'm not too opposed to maybe this being the right way of doing it, where yes, with all mods, there's gonna be like 12 people in the world that are gonna be able to cap it. And then, remove one mod, and then you add 500 more people, and so on and so on.
Yeah, the only way to really get like a widespread of player rankings is to make it unshareable. And I don't really like that idea. The problem is if it's shareable, by the end of the 2 weeks, we are, depending on the tuning, but usually going to have like 1,000 plus shared rank ones, which does exactly like you said. You turn off one mod immediately, you just drop 1,000 plus ranks.
Yeah,
because one single mod is not turned on. And go ahead.
I was going to say, I think ultimately it sort of comes back to what we've been saying at the start, which is that the EX level system is kind of still the worst part of Clash, and things could be much more interesting if, like, say, there were 10 mods and you only needed 7 of them on to get a max score.
Yes. I love this.
Yeah, that would be a really good system. There would still be a meta, like the meta pit would be you turn on
but
these
that's
mods.
fine.
Exactly, because maybe, for example, you have had great luck on DPS units and you just never pull the good magic tank. Well, you could turn on an extra bulk mod and turn off the attack and magic mod, something like that. And that's actually really awesome to be able to customize
flexibility and variety.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. Or you're just like me and you fucking hate HP locks, so you exchange the HP lock for something that's easier to deal with for you, right?
Mm-hmm. Honestly, I would lean towards something that like fundamentally changes the fight in that way. Should probably be a required modifier. Just my personal opinion. I think the variability. I think the variability should be more like that way you can tune your team around it.
Yeah, especially if we ever get stuff like Thran's advanced AI mod. That obviously that should be something that you in some way need for rank 1, or like maybe you need every mod except that one if you're not using it.
Right. No, but I love the idea of, I mean, this is what we've basically talked about even before CoW came out. Like, this idea has been floating around for such a long time about these modifiers, and it was always about, being able to tailor the modifiers to your roster, to the units that you have the gear for, that you maybe like as well, right? And we never really got to that point.
Yeah, the fact that at the end of the day you still need all of them to cap and also that the fact that you need at least 16 EX levels to be able to turn them all on is just very restrictive and kind of removes or any potential benefit of flexibility that the system could have had.
Yeah, for sure.
And before we move on from Clash, let me ask you guys, and Dream, you girl, one more thing before we get into it. So how do you feel about this? The way this kind of frustrated me a little bit too. The way we just had a triple premium Clash banner. We had A2, 2B, and the morale upgraded Cloud. 3 premiums for Clash. All 3 of them are basically unusable in the Clash that followed. How do you feel about that? The fact that you can't reasonably use the near units or Cloud in this Clash of Wills. How do you feel about that?
I think because there'll definitely be opportunities for them again in the next couple, I think. But so it's not I think right now it feels worse than it will eventually. But I think it is still a bit much, just in general, the amount of physical damage punish that this Clash has. I think it could have had either the lower spirit or the defense break punish and been okay, but with both of them, it's just kind of a bit much.
Yeah, and I just want to add, I agree with everything you said, Dream. I just want to add, I don't mind. I think it's okay. Just like Dream said, they're going to have their time in the sun. I mean, A2 and 2B are amazing units. You can use them everywhere. So I don't care. But I just feel it was unnecessary to antagonize a huge player base because I can see a lot of people being angry about spending so much of their resources on these 2 units and now getting completely shafted.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
How do you feel, Sinzar?
I was pretty disappointed. I mean, I absolutely expected the brand new unit to be the MVP. That's how it always is. Not a problem. But, when I pulled for Tsukiko and Chizuru, I used them as all-star players for 2 or 3 clashes in a row following that. So the fact that I went literally EX3 on both the near units and then the very next clash, they're benched. And of course, they're going to come back. Next class is probably going to be fine. They'll probably come back. They'll probably be in the top 4 meta damage dealers. But just literally the very next one, they're benched. It feels real bad. It feels real bad.
Yeah. I get you. Although, to be fair, they did also get to shine in the current Vision world. Not that says much. It's a very easy Vision world, but still.
Yeah, they'll be top in DVs and stuff as well. But
exactly. Now, it's a bit weird. All right, but this is interesting. Let's see if the CoW changes, or if this is just going to be a test where we get to see what happens with a CoW when only a handful of people can cap it.
Yeah.
So let's move on. Let's actually talk about the unit.
It's been half an hour at this point, so.
Sorry, what did you say?
Yeah, I was just going. Yeah, it's been half an hour at this point. Let's get into
Holy shit!
Units.
Already? Oh my god! Time flies when you have fun, and I just have fun with you two. So I love you too.
Aw.
You too.
Wow! This feels like high school. Oh my god. Okay. All right. Let's actually talk about this fucking unit instead. So this is the MVP of the show. It is a GLEX, of course. It's Ayaka, and she's not a healer.
Yeah.
Wait, hold on. Do we even have other Ayaka units than the healer Ayaka?
There's the Kimono Ayaka, who is a fire and light mage with some healing on the side, I think.
Oh, that's true. I forgot about her entirely. But yes, there's the Kimono Ayaka as well.
Actually, I was going to bring this up later, but now that it's been mentioned, this instance of Ayaka makes me very sad that Global does not support the skin system at all, because Kimono Ayaka is still one of my favorite sprites in the game.
Oh.
And this one, with Christmas outfits, I feel a bit lame to me. I would much rather be able to swap them and stuff like Kaito and all that. I want to be able to swap them. So, yeah, it's a real shame that Global doesn't support the skin system when it seems really easy to add to as well.
Yeah. No, I fully agree. I hate holiday-themed skins. They ruin my experience for all the other days of the year that are not a holiday. Imagine if fucking Sylvie was, a Christmas Sylvie. You'd be bringing a Christmas unit to fucking every event all year. So I did not even think about that, Dream. That would be a fantastic thing for Ayaka to be able to change into one of her other skins.
But in general, I'm very glad that we're seeing her again. It's been a long time since she's had any love, and
Yeah, she's a fucking amazing unit. I have loved her every time she came out, honestly.
I've been very fond of her since the early days.
Yeah, she was my first real healer, and just a really broken healer as well. Super powerful. Man, those were the days. Those were the golden days of FFB, right?
There was pros and cons.
Yeah, there was definitely some cons back then too, but it was fun for different reasons.
I mean, I guess Tilith and Ayaka kind of broke the game in a way, right? Like with the endless healing and so on.
It was a shift at least, but yeah, we were definitely much less jaded back then.
Yeah, I guess, yeah. That's what. How long has this game been going on? 6 years now?
Yeah, bordering on 6.5.
Yeah. Well, it's easy to get jaded after so many years, for sure. Okay, but yeah, so Ayaka, this time around, is an SLB unit, so this is nothing new to us anymore in the GLEX scene, and she is a triple element mage, right?
Well, she's an ice mage with a couple of side elements.
Yeah, okay. That's I guess, a much more accurate way to put it, because I guess her only real damage is ice then, if you put it that way.
Yeah. The Earth and Light ones have decent mods, but just the lack of like amp support and stuff really knocks them down a notch.
Okay, all right. But she is a very competent dealer, right? Like, I mean, Dream, you've done some calcs, and I saw Sinzar's calcs too.
Yeah, she's certainly right near the top in Clash, and still pretty good in DV, though I think not quite as impressive there from what I've seen at least.
Yeah, Sinzar, what are your thoughts? I saw that, like, on your sheet she's top in Clash, and on DV she's like half of top damage, which is still really good, given that she actually has a very important support kit that we're gonna talk about.
Yeah, so it depends on if Global is going to continue keeping the element locks that JP does. We did last time, and maybe even 2 times in a row. I don't remember if we did it before, but we definitely did it last time. And if going forward, we're going to keep element locking, then the fact that she's a 100 Ice Amper is going to be a really big deal for some fights.
Whoa, you spoiled it. We haven't even talked about that ability yet, Sinzar.
Oh, my bad. I thought that was like the whole point of Ayaka.
It is. I was just waiting for my opportunity to talk about Regina again. Okay, but yeah, she has a 100% AoE amp, right?
And it's the same format as Sylvie's stacking ones, but she only has 1 use of it instead of 2.
Wait, she only has 1? I thought it was just a cooldown. Oh, no, it's a Magnus.
Yeah, it's Magnus.
Oh, okay.
It's annoying how much of her good stuff is on 1-use Magnuses, actually.
Yeah, I don't know why. Like,
yeah.
I mean, what's the point, right? Like, you could just, if you don't want it to be spammable, just put it on a high cooldown, right? Like, put it on a 10, and then you can still use it more times in a fight, but it's not maybe realistic for short fights, right?
Maybe not 10, but even like 5 or 6, like her buff ones are, that's very infrequent.
Yeah, so. Exactly. No, I agree. I mean, it's then 1 turn of 100% amp in 6 turns, right? Like, I agree. I think a lot of good stuff is on a single. The same thing with the 150 amps for like literally all the 150 units, right? It's such a shame you use them once and then basically they're garbage.
Yeah, I mean, I could see like, because the ice one is a mimic of Sylvie, that being a 2-use Grandis would be appropriate, I would say. Yeah. But like the killers definitely make more sense as a cooldown. And having her max burst as a Grandis, like I get that it's fused with the 150 amp, and all of those from JP are 1-use Grandises. So I guess that makes sense as a Grandis.
Yeah, but I don't know why are units like guns? You know, why do they have ammunition? That's what I don't get. Why do I get to use my big burst just once in a fight?
They get tired. They need to sleep.
I much more like the recharge functionality. Like, I don't know what it's called.
Cooldown.
Like Esther and Olive?
Yeah, exactly. Didn't that have a name?
Magnus. I think it was just recharging Magnus or something similar.
Yeah, because like I like that a lot more.
Yeah, those are cool.
And I mean, like, okay, so you could have like let's look at 2B, right? Okay, let's say she has a 150 amp light amp, right? And let's say it's a 5 recharge. All right, that means you have to do 5 LBs in order to get it back. I think that's fine. I would be okay with that. I hate the fact that I can only use it once per fight.
I mean, 5 LBs would be a bit excessive, but like, yeah, you could have Ayaka's Grandis be recharged by like her SLB. SLBs are great for recharging because they have their own innate cooldown.
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, I don't know. I just think it's a shame. I just think it's a shame. I really like how Olive works, right? Like her SLB gives her 2 charges, her normal LBs give her 1 charge. So you kind of have to figure out a rotation based on that.
Olive's is annoying because of how like the EX3 timing of it with
Yeah,
the
yeah.
LB only returning 1 out 2 and it just starting on 0. If Olive started fully charged, it would be fine. But
yeah, but then I feel it would maybe be a bit too easy to fill it. But I agree with you. Like I think that like Olive is one of those units that you can say gets trickier to use once she's EX3 and not easier because now you have to jump through more hoops.
I think maybe for like if we're theoretically doing one for Ayaka, make it start charged like it currently does, 3 recharge and make the LB recharge 1 and the SLB charge 2. So you like similar to Olive's, but starts charged, but you have to use both an LB and an SLB to recharge it.
And I would prefer that to literally every single use Magnus in the game because it makes the units much more dynamic. And you get to also reuse them. Like, you get to also do trial and error without restarting the fucking fight. Oh no, like I didn't do well on my burst turn, so I'll just try again. Instead of, I'll just restart the fight, which is so lame. I don't know. Maybe it's just me.
I agree with that.
What more does Ayaka have?
I mean, one thing just on the topic of her SLB timing, I'm glad that her SLB is not like 100% required for bursting, really. So you don't necessarily have to wait for...
I thought that was her whole gimmick, that it's like you use her SLB to amp her mods in order to do the big burst, or?
If you want to absolutely maximize it then like the mod boost and the higher weapon imperil is important, but just regular, because like it's not needed for the amp and you can get another source of 300% focus externally, you can kind of just LB focus Magnus chain and get like most of her max burst in a shorter time frame.
Oh, really? Oh, that's interesting. That's really good to know.
It's quite like a nice little trait, even if it's not so important.
Yeah. Okay, cool. So we've already talked about the fact that she has an AoE ice amp. We've talked about the fact that she has a Magnus that does her big damage. Is there anything else worth mentioning about the unit itself?
Just the AoE killers, really, that she's got. But
and those are obviously the current Clash races,
standard.
Right?
The current one's plus beast. So
yeah, that's not bad. Demon. 3 killers is not bad.
Yeah, it's alright. They are on a Grandis, but it's also 5 turns. And so 160 AoE, and she's got 200% for herself as well.
Oh.
That's pretty decent. I think she has 5 passive 200% killers, or 6, so that's quite nice. But 0 for the other races. So
but
it's a bit of a coin flip.
Makes it easier to gear. And this is where I want to hear what Sinzar thinks about her DV potential. So looking at Sinzar's whaled out sheet, she does about half of our current meta damage, a bit more than half, but like somewhere around like 50-60% of their damage. But do you think, Sinzar, she's still worth bringing, given that she actually does that damage while giving your party 100% amp?
If you're going with an ice team, she's absolutely required. But if you're not going for ice, like, are you going to slot her onto your thunder team as just a standalone damage dealer? I would say probably not. So it's very specific if you're going with an ice
But
meta.
Would she ever make you choose ice? If I put it that way, let's say it's an elementless DV, right? You can use any element. Would the fact that she exists ever make you do like, hey, ice is a really good element now?
It really depends on where we're at. I would say at the current time, probably not, because I think based on the existing at the moment units, the meta would be light element because of Near, Surge, etc.
Yeah.
I think going forward with Premium Lastwell, you can build a team around ice, especially if Lastwell gets global upgraded to 500 leader skill, which seems pretty likely.
Okay.
I would say that, yes, in the future, a strictly ice team with Lastwell, Ayaka, as well as like Regina, and then some of the other upcoming ice units. I can't think of the top of my head. But yes, that could very well be a thing.
But I'm trying to understand your sheet. And you two will have to help me figure out the math here. But I'm looking at your sheet, right? And Regina with 1 helper does almost the same damage as Cloud. Like, she does 290 billion, he does 296. They're literally the same, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Now, if you just bring only Regina and 5 helpers, you're basically bringing 5 clouds?
Well, no, because each helper is not doing a double damage.
Oh,
So
of course.
yeah,
Yeah.
Regina,
It's
like Regina
yeah,
by
like-
herself, like Regina by herself is let's just say 100 damage. Each helper is adding 20, just ballparking whatever. So so like
So
one
one
helper is
helper
like
is 120%, and then 5 helpers is just 200%.
yeah. So you're doing
Something
the
like
damage
that.
of 2 units. Yeah, it's not that's not the exact ratios, but you get the idea. Like
Okay,
each
okay.
one is not doubling your
Yeah,
damage.
'cause in general, basically, Regina's damage per slot actually goes down the more helpers she's using.
Ah, okay. I've never seen it like that, and again, I'm a stupid man, so that's okay. But that does mean that okay, because I'm just thinking, then I should actually prefer putting in some DPS alongside Regina instead of always trying to do a five slot team.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Once you can fit all the support that you need, most like other good damage dealers will add more than another helper to Regina will.
Cool.
So yeah, often the best balance might be 3 or 4, or Regina plus 2 or 3 other damage dealers and a couple supports.
Nice. And the reason why I'm bringing up Regina is maybe worth mentioning is because, of course, obviously Ayaka has that 100% in peril that we talked about.
Because Regina was very lacking on a good external ice amp for her big burst move previously.
So it definitely bumped her up. So she's now number 2 in DV, which is interesting. Yeah, okay. So that's why I was kind of pushing on the ice thing, but now I understand, of course, 5 helper Regina is still not 5 units, so ice is still suboptimal given that you definitely want to use some of these units with 150% amps instead.
Yeah, if you have like all of the units and the DV is not element restricted, the elements that have more units with personal 150 amps are going to be better for now, like light.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, or thunder, I guess. There's cloud. Although we only have cloud with 150 thunder, right?
Yeah, for now. But there's still, like, thunder is still one that also has an AoE 100% amp, which keeps it up there a bit. But yeah, like, ice is no longer a bad element anymore, where it kind of was before.
Yeah.
Because now that it has an AoE 100%.
Yeah.
I think wind is now pretty conclusively the worst element.
Wind, because we have nothing on it, right?
Yeah, it has the worst AoE support options now.
Yeah, we have Magic Mermaid, right?
Yeah, or Bulwark.
Or Bart's.
Until Bart's arrives and makes it the best element.
Oh, yeah.
Wait, so there's a new Bart's? I remember you were super disappointed about a Bart's in JP, but that's not that Bart's, I guess.
And then Bharos brings us back to reality.
Oh,
yeah,
so it is the super disappointing Bart's, goddammit.
Yep, he's mid.
Ah, okay. But at least he makes it the best element then, right?
No.
That was a joke.
Oh, I misunderstood the joke entirely. Okay.
I mean, I think he helps it a little bit, but no, it's not the best.
A shame. I'd like Bart's to be good again. Jesus.
It might no longer be the worst, at least.
Yeah. Well, wait. What would be the worst then? Fire?
Not sure. Possibly fire or dark until DOCs. Dark's not great right now.
Probably Earth, just because Earth doesn't have anyone like to carry it. We got Sylvie's amp, but
I mean, having the AoE 100% on everyone when Global has so many elementless units still like does a lot of work, to be honest.
Yeah, agreed. Like fire, the best you can do in fire is 45%, right? That's Leftia.
You've got a single target 100% for fire.
Yeah.
Which is a bit similar to water, but water also has better fields.
Yeah. Okay.
Anyway, we've gotten distracted. We've got some upgraded units this week as well.
Let's talk about something that was incredibly disappointing to me, which is we got 2 intrinsic abilities on this banner as well, or with this event. It's for Eldrin and Tiana, 2 units I like a lot. And Dream, tell us what happened.
Well, Tiana got just completely destroyed. She got basically 1,000 magic, and that's it for relevant stuff.
Which is like the dumbest shit ever. Like, I mean, she is such a cool designed unit with an awesome sprite, cool kit that has a big problems in it, and they give her 1,000 magic. It's like, what the actual fuck?
Yeah, she would have been so easy to just slap mod boost on. She would have still had problems, obviously, but it would have at least been usable.
Yeah.
I mean, really, she needed more of a kit rework to like shore up some of those flaws. But yeah, she could have at least had mod boost to become somewhat good.
Yeah.
But yeah, so she got absolutely shafted.
Which is such a
Eldrin
shame.
fared a bit better, but still not amazing.
Yeah, so Eldrin, I thought it was going to be good, but then somebody said, yeah, he's basically like Elena.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. Like, he got the same 2k attack and magic, which makes his stats decent, but he's still true dual wield, which isn't great right now. And
he's horrible to gear for TDH. I tried, don't. Like, it's impossible,
very
basically.
bad to gear for TDH. And yeah, his mod boosts give him alright sustained damage and slightly higher mod boost than Alina, but not by much. And yeah, so he's just in a similar spot to her, but 6 months later.
Which tells a lot.
Yeah, like, he'd still be okay in trials and stuff, but do you really want to spend crowns for something to be okay in trials?
I mean, I did. I bought both immediately because I like both of the units very much. Even though I knew that it was, I mean, even before I knew Tiana's was absolutely worthless, because I saw it was 1000 magic and 2 killers, and I'm like, this is going to do nothing for her. But I like the unit, so I bought it. And I mean, we have so many, I had like, I don't know, 30 crowns or some shit. So, yeah.
Also, just for reference, since I've seen a bit of confusion on it, the chain up passive on Tiana's one is just the chain speed that's on like Oliveira's TMR and stuff. It's the really not important one.
Oh, yeah, exactly. It's a slap in the face for people thinking that it might have been the Lightning SDMR. No, no. Yeah, it's a shame. It's a shame.
Wouldn't have helped her that much.
And they are so bad that, they could have, I mean, they are so old and bad units, they could have just, as you said, they could have just given them a bit higher amps. They would still be really bad, but at least you would feel better about getting the IAs. Like, this is the problem. This is the problem why we keep losing every single type of unit upgrades in this game. Because Gumi probably sits there with their fucking dashboards and see, oh, well, look, nobody's fucking buying Tiana's IA. We should stop doing IAs. Yeah, no shit, nobody's fucking buying it. It's absolutely worthless. Like, make it worth our while.
Yes, like if we were drowning in crowns, you would probably feel okay about Eldrin's as if it was an effectively free upgrade. You'd be like, yeah, okay, this gives them some niche usability, I guess. But yeah, because they cost a resource that's still reasonably limited, even if it's not super limited as it was, it just is a really hard sell.
Yeah, I agree. And I mean, this is gonna make it so that IAs slowly die off as well. And we're definitely not getting any crown upgrades on units. Jesus Christ, that's shit stopped. So, this is why all of these systems die. Like, it's like they don't understand that in order for players to really like a system and to, spend on unit upgrades, you have to make the system worth your while. Like, what is this shit? Like, they could have just not upgraded Tiana and Eldrin and they would be in the same place in the game as they are now. That's the sad part. Sorry, we said we were going to talk about this for 30 seconds, and we've talked about it for like 10 minutes, so maybe we should move on.
And then the best upgrade of the week.
Yeah,
Zidane
finally woke up like several months late and realized he had upgrades.
So, I have no idea what Zidane's upgrades are.
So basically, he got some upgrades to his kit that no one cares about, but more importantly, his STMR is now amazing. Super amazing.
Oh, I heard about that. It's an autocast now, right? It's no longer singing.
It is. It's just way shorter, and it's much longer duration. So before, it would take 6 turns of a unit doing nothing for a 1-turn buff. Now it takes 3 turns for a 5-turn buff for the whole party. It is so much better and more realistic to use in both Dark Visions and Clash of Wills.
But that is really good. That's a 300% LB buff. Jesus.
It's very good. In Clash, to be honest, but yeah, it's certainly a lot better than it was and is back to being quite usable in DV, I think.
Very nice. Now you don't have to struggle if you can't bring that 300% LB buffer. I love it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But Zidane himself sucks, it sounds like.
Yeah. He's in quite a similar vein to Emperor, I guess, because one of the main things is he's a 160 Wind Imperialer. He's got the 89% defense break, 87% spirit, so kind of the swap of Emperor there. And then he has a 45% dagger imperil, which is high, but no one uses daggers.
Yeah, Kid
And
does.
then and then just a couple of his sort of niche little support things on the side that don't do too much, but just like a 2-stack Mirage and whatnot. I think that's pretty much the same as what he had before. But
Okay.
yeah, it's basically he's got a Wind Imperil, a Dagger Imperil, and a decent defense break now.
Well, I mean, that Wind Imperil might come in handy for players that might have Zidane but not Emperor, so there's that. I mean, it definitely sounds like good upgrades in a way.
Remember the part where we said wind is the worst element, though?
I do, but we also have a fight that requires wind. Actually, isn't Earth better for that fight?
Yeah, that's kind of better for Reflection now.
Yeah, exactly.
And one thing to note is, while he's not locked to like SLB cooldowns, he's got the format of he has to wait several turns of stacking auto casts to actually get his max potency on his debuffs.
Okay.
At least for one of them, possibly both the break and the imperil.
All right.
I don't actually have the page open right now because I was like, I don't care about him that much.
So I guess that's it for this week. This has already been an hour episode. Holy shit, time goes fast when you're having fun.
I mean, with next week's recording being right on New Year's, we could mention the one unit that we know is coming next week. That'll take like 5 minutes, and then we can skip next week.
Who is that?
We are getting Silent Knight Charlotte.
Oh, right. It was spoiled through Arena or something, right?
Yeah. Arena shows it, and we also just saw in the data mine.
Oh, okay. So Silent Knight Charlotte is some type of Christmassy unit then?
Yeah, she's the
wait.
JP
Silent Knight as in the Carol, or Silent Knight as in Sword and Shield?
Sword and Shield. It's a pun.
So she is Christmas themed then?
Yeah, she is. She is Christmas Charlotte. That's
okay.
What she's translated as. And yeah, she's just a directly ported JP magic tank with a very boring kit.
Oh,
basically.
That
does
sucks.
Very little of note.
I like Charlotte a lot, actually. She's also one of my favorite units in the game.
The new Clash of Wills has given me new respect for these niche units that have these racial combos. Like Hyunkel went from a nobody to one of the best units in this Clash of Wills. So in the future, if we ever get a just beastly overpowered dragon insect Clash of Wills, this unit could see use. But other than that, no.
But that's a good point. Like, maybe this is how they're going to start monetizing different tanks, just like they're monetizing different element lock DPS.
But that's also like saying how Nelica can be good against like a stone machine.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's very, very specialized.
Still. Okay, interesting. I can't wait to see that sprite coming in next week then, I guess. And since there's no app update next week, right? And no maintenance, this is already in the game. We're just waiting for a timer to flip.
Yep, all the data's already in.
Okay, all right. Interesting. Well, it's at least a banner I won't be pulling on. So it's been a while since I didn't do dailies, and I feel like it's time again to start saving up at least a little bit.
I managed to hit exact 0 lapis during this Ayaka banner.
That happens to me all the time. That's nothing, friend.
Did you actually get Ayaka Dream?
Yeah, I actually managed to get 2 copies now, which is quite nice. I got one on the card step up, and then I've done one of the 2 9Ks for pity and got a second there. And I'm hopefully saving up enough to actually get the pity copy as well. But I'm not sure I'll quite make it, because I'm still like 7k away.
Oh, that's really good.
Very, very nice.
But yeah, I was very happy to get that second copy.
Yeah.
Actually, you've reminded me, we never mentioned her equipment.
Yeah, so when you said second copy, I remembered it, and then I hoped to God nobody would say anything, because the episode has been going on for an hour already. But now that you said it, Dream, we have to talk about it.
Her STMR has a passive that fills 400 morale per turn.
Yeah, if everyone in the party is alive, right?
Yeah, but it's a 2-handed rod, so that's a bit restrictive, and it means you won't get dual wield bonuses from like Sylvian Wilk's card. So it's a bit niche, but it's handy to have a couple, 2 or 3.
Yeah, but still slapping it, slapping that as well as Sylvie's card and a support gives you a really decent morale fill per turn passively.
Mm-hmm.
So it's really nice.
That's made me remember some other thing that I didn't mention with Ayaka's kit. I think it's really sad that she has no spammable morale fill and no healing at all. They could have just given a single ability that was like an AoE heal plus fill 300 or 400 morale, or
Yeah.
even put morale fill on her spammable chains.
Well, I mean,
Like,
technically
like
she
the-
has 400 morale every turn, so
Yeah, but still.
It's not really for her, because you can give that to
Yeah.
like Kresnik or something.
Yeah, she
sure.
has very little to do on her off turns, really, because her chains are the only spammable thing.
Yeah.
And yeah, considering her roots, it's kind of sad that she didn't get a healing ability at least.
Yeah, agreed. Not paying homage to where she came from, right? And why she was popular in the first place, why everyone pulled for her.
Well, she does have level 8 white magic access, which is an improvement because most global exclusives forget that magic access even exists. So we can equip Holy on her to do something.
Yeah, that sounds like a
To do
great idea,
some
Cesar. Oh my god, you saved the unit.
Good. Anyway, we can't all have what we want.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you,
Like
Sinzar,
Ayaka
for
can't
chilling
have
last
that.
minute.
Sure thing.
And as always, thank you, Dream, for making my days a bit better.
You're welcome. Thank you for making my days a bit worse.
It's okay. It's what I do, I can only take as much credit. All right, so I guess that's it. Merry Christmas,
Yes,
everyone.
That's more than
You
it.
too.
But yes, Merry Christmas or Happy Holidays.
Oh, yeah, happy holidays. Happy holidays.